And the truth is, we do have the power to win big for our families and our communities if we organize together. And here's how I know. You might have seen some headlines, or you might have heard a minute ago, about the Student Opportunity Act and about that bill becoming law. And maybe you know how the story ends, but you might not know how it began. Let me take you back to the beginning, before victory was assured. 5 years ago, Beacon Hill watchers and pundits called this set of reforms pie in the sky. The Baker-Polito administration dismissed it as unrealistic. At that time, state leaders loved to tout Massachusetts' reputation as an education leader. But in fact, we had among the worst education gaps and achievement gaps in the nation, literally bottoming out the 50 states on some metrics between wealthy and poor and white kids and kids of color. Around the same time, in 2015, I was the sole person of color on a 21-person commission that was tasked with updating our state's aging funding formula. Almost everybody on this commission assumed that we would just make a couple modest recommendations, we'd call it a win, and we'd go home. But I saw an opportunity, a once-in-a-generation opportunity, to uphold the promise that we make in our Massachusetts Constitution, that radical, sensible promise that we will deliver a quality education to all of our students, regardless of their zip code or their background. Power brokers on Beacon Hill, they had a different idea. They wanted to get in, get out with the least expensive recommendations possible. They did not want to touch the issue of education gaps. And after months of meetings and hours worth of testimony and presentations and polite conversation, they said that the side issue of achievement gaps needed what we call on Beacon Hill further study. That's my study. So the commission was about to adjourn, and I knew that if I didn't speak up, we would go on pretending like we didn't see another generation's worth of kids sitting in schools set up for failure. But I couldn't pretend, because I moved between those worlds every day, because it was my students who were set up for that failure. I knew I'd be damned if I would let that happen on my watch. So knowing it would cost me dearly in my relationships on Beacon Hill, I spoke up, and then I organized. And we got a new report, right, Tracy Novick? We got a new report, a better report, a more honest and ambitious report. And that report became the seeds of the Student Opportunity Act. And for 4 years, we had to drag Governor Baker to the altar. But from Boston to the South Shore, to Leominster, to East Hampton, we built a movement to get it done. We made it impossible for Beacon Hill to ignore working families and their kids. And in 2019, Governor Baker gritted his teeth and signed that bill into law at one of, that's right, and he did it at one of the most under-resourced schools in my district, right here at English High School. A bill that will pump $1.5 billion with a B, new dollars into our school system, redefining the way that we fund the work of public education and the way that we will accomplish the work of equity in our state for generations to come. That's what can happen when we elect people who are willing to challenge the status quo, even when it's uncomfortable.